Okay, we are continuing with chapter C. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, we learned about the walls come tumbling down, about Jericho. We continued in the book of Joshua, and we learned about the Israelites vowing to serve the Lord. Now we're going to move into the book of Judges. So now we have our book of Judges, and we need to look at chapter 4 in Judges. So let's open up our Bibles to chapter 4. Sounds like it's page 290 in the Bibles we have here at school. We're in Judges now, not Joshua. We've moved to Judges, so we're in the next book in the Bible. So we started off with 2 days in Joshua. Now we have 2 days in Judges. All right, chapter 4, Deborah and Barak. The Israelites again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. Because they're human, we make bad choices sometimes. And those Israelites, they had vowed to serve the Lord. We read about that yesterday in Joshua. And God said, if you don't serve me, there will be consequences. So there's going to be consequences. Ehud was dead, so the Lord sold them into the power of the Canaanite king Jabin, who reigned in Hazor. The general of his army was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth HaGoyim. But the Israelites cried out to the Lord, for with his 900 iron chariots, Jabin harshly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years. So they were being oppressed. They were being forced to do slave labor. They were prisoners. And it was not a good time. Remember, those chariots are one of our key terms. It's the man rides around on the little contraption that's pulled by the horse. Okay? Big horse is coming driving at you. You don't want to get run over by it. So you have to be very careful. At that time, the prophet Deborah, wife of Lepideth, was judging Israel. She used to sit under Deborah's palm tree between Ramah and Bethel in the mountain region of Ephraim, where the Israelites came up to her for judgment. She had Barak, son of Abinoam, summoned from Kadesh of Naphtali. She said to him, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, commands. Go, march against Mount Tabor, and take with you 10,000 men from Naphtali and Zebulun. I will draw Sisera, the general of Jabin's army, out to you at the Wadi Kishon, together with his chariots and troops, and I will deliver them into your power." But Barak answered her, "If you come with me, I will go. If you do not come with me, I will not go." "I will certainly go with you," she replied, "but you will not gain glory for the expedition on which you are setting out, for it is into a woman's power that the Lord is going to sell Sisera." So Deborah arose and went with Barak and journeyed with him to Kadesh. Barak summoned Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and 10,000 men followed him. Deborah also went with him. So Barak is leading this army, 10,000 men. And he's only doing this because Deborah says she'll go with him.
Is Barak the king of the Canaanites?
No. So they were sold into the power of the Canaanite king, Jabin. So Jabin's the one who is oppressing them. So Barak is going up against him. Barak summoned Zebulun and Naphtali, and Deborah went with him. Now Heber the Kenite had detached himself from Cain, the descendants of Hobab, Moses' father-in-law, and had pitched his tent by the terebinth of Zaanannim, which was near Kadesh. Lots of words we don't know. My goodness. Names that we're not familiar with and terms that we're not sure of. Key things. He's making his tent, his camp. So we know that. We know what a camp is for the army. So they're camping out near Kadesh. That's the key takeaway there. It was reported to Sisera that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor. So Sisera called out 900 of his iron chariots and all of his forces from Harosheth Hagoyim to the Wadi Kishon. So Sisera is the general that works for the king, Jabin, who is oppressing them. So the king is Jabin. Barak wants to fight against him, so he's fighting against his army. The leader of the king's army is Sisera. Okay, so he's going up against Sisera, who is the general. Deborah then said to Barak, "Up, this is the day on which the Lord has delivered Sisera into your power. The Lord marches before you." So Barak went down Mount Tabor, followed by his 10,000 men. And the Lord threw Sisera and all of his chariots and forces into a panic before Barak. Sisera himself dismounted from his chariot and fled on foot. But Barak pursued the chariots and the army as far as the Harosheth Hagoyim. The entire army of Sisera fell beneath the sword, not even one man surviving. So God is looking out for the Israelites. Deborah is a prophet. She is told by God, tell Barak, go today. So Barak goes, and God makes the horses that are pulling these chariots go crazy. So the men are jumping off of their chariots, and now they're being chased by Barak's army. And Barak's army is able to conquer them. Sisera fled on foot to the tent of Jael, wife of Heber the Kenite, for there was peace between Jabin, king of Hazar, and the family of Heber the Kenite. Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Turn aside, my lord, turn aside with me. Do not be afraid." So he went into her tent, and she covered him with a rug. He said to her, "Please give me a little water to drink. I am thirsty." So she opened a skin of milk, gave him a drink, and then covered him. "Stand at the entrance of the tent," he said to her. "If anyone comes and asks, 'Is there someone here?' say no." Jael, wife of Heber, got a tent peg and took a mallet in her hand. When Sisera was in a deep sleep from exhaustion, she approached him stealthily and drove the peg through his temple and down into the ground, and he died. So he thought he was safe because this is somebody that they have a truce with. So he thought he was safe. She hides him under the rug, and he's like, "Oh, make sure you tell them that nobody's here." He thought she was an ally. Was she actually an ally? No, not a traitor. She's not a traitor. She just was not his ally. Okay, but she didn't turn sides. She just wasn't on his side, and she didn't tell him that. So she wasn't clear and open that she didn't want him to live. Yes, Will.
So was she technically his enemy then?
Yes. She was his enemy, but he didn't know it at the time.
Wait, Miss Mia, so
Yes.
did Sisera just die?
Yes, she killed him.
With the sword?
No, with the tent stake. She drove it through his head.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys heard what I read. And some of us made some like, oh my goodness, but some of us were kind of zoning off. Let's read it again. Shh. When Sisera was in deep sleep from exhaustion, because he had been fighting and running for his life, so he fell asleep under that rug, she approached him stealthily and drove the tent peg through his temple.
Oh,
That's his head.
Oh,
That's your forehead. What was that, Brielle? Okay, so she drove the tent peg through his head down into the ground, so all the way through his head.
Oh.
So she kills him.
He hits him right over his
Oh, eyes up. Eyes up. What's your question, Zoe?
What was the girl's name who killed him?
Her name is, let's look a little bit higher up in this. It's Jael. So I think it's pronounced jail, but I'm not positive. Shh. Friends, let's get back on track. Then, when Barak came in pursuit of Sisera, Jael went out to meet him and said to him, "Come, I will show you the man you are looking for." So he went in with her, and there lay Sisera dead with the tent peg through his temple. Thus, on that day, God humbled the Canaanite king Jabin before the Israelites. Their power weighed ever more heavily on him until at length they finished off the Canaanite king Jabin. So because they were able to take care of the general Sisera and his whole army, eventually the Canaanite king gets conquered also. So today we are doing true or false for our questions. We've got 5. If it is a false statement, make sure you make it true. Yeah, read the directions. Write true or false. If false, correct the statement to make it true. So you need to make sure you do that. If it's a false statement, how do you make it true? With that, we'll say goodbye to our friends at home. We hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon.